برحمته شفاعة وكوثرا، فكم ذرفت دمعة مشتاقة لنا ترى، مشتاقة لنا ترى.
أو فاح مدح الشعراء، أو سافر الطير إلى أرض الحجاز مخبرا.
وكم دعوت للذين لم يروك قادرا، يا ليتني كنت الخليل في سويعات حيرا، أو كنت من صحبته تبعته مهاجرا، أو كنت يوم أحد بصفه مكبرا، مكبرا.
ملاح ضيف في الكرى، أو فاح مدح الشعراء، أو سافر الطير إلى أرض الحجاز مخبرا.
أرى محياه الذي فض هدى ونورا، وأسمع الآية بفيه تاليا محبرا. أقول يا سيدنا بلغت دينا للورى، وقد سقيت أمة من رحمة، من رحمة لتزهرا. في الكرى فحمته الشعراء، أو سافر الطير إلى أرض الحجاز مخبرا، صلى عليك الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're listening to Radio Seerah 1575 AM and live on www.radioseerah.com. This is Brother Riaz Jasat, and today we'll be having a show, inshallah, about something which you may be aware of but may not be fully familiar with: national insurance contributions, or in the old days, a lot of parents used to refer to them as stamps. Have we done all we can to ensure that our national insurance contributions are up to date? What are the changes? What are the requirements for you to complete your NI contributions, and why should we complete them? I shall be joined in a moment with a telephone dial-in with Emma Robson from HMRC. So inshallah, I'm just going to dial her through, and then we'll discuss today's topic for the next half an hour or so on national insurance contributions and the extension of the voluntary NI contributions and the deadline date. So inshallah, I shall be with you after I've dialed our special guest in, inshallah, just a couple of minutes, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
شعور الهبة غطاني وعبراتي وتنهيدي، وانا في روضتك جالس ونبضي فيك يترنم، حبيبي المصطفى الهادي هدي ربنا الأكرم، انا في روضتك جالس ونبضي فيك، حبيبي المصطفى الهادي هديت ربنا الأكرم، حبيبي المصطفى الهادي هديت ربنا الأكرم. الشان أنا في روضتك ونبضي فيك يترنم حبيبي المصطفى الهادي هدية ربنا الأكرم حبيبي المصطفى الهادي هدية ربنا الأكرم شعور الهبة غطاني وعبراتي وتنهيدي وانا في روضتك جالس ونبضي فيك يترنم حبيبي المصطفى الهادي هدية ربنا الأكرم
You're listening to Radio Seerah, transmitting 1575 AM and on www.radioseerah.com and via the apps on Google and Android. Today, we're having a special guest who's talking to us about the national insurance contributions and why we all need to be aware of current regulations. First of all, just as an introduction about what we're talking about today, the fact that if you've worked hard all your life, and then it's fair to say you deserve to receive your state pension entitlement. Now, filling in gaps in your NI record can make a real difference. So how many of you out there have checked yours and what to do with them and how to top them up? Well, there's good news. HMRC have announced that the deadline for voluntary NI contributions has been extended to April 2025. So how does this affect you and how can we benefit from it? So here to assist is Emma Robson, so from HMRC. So good afternoon, Emma.
Hi, good afternoon. That's quite right, Riyadh. You now have until the 5th of April 2025 to fill in any gaps that you might have in your national insurance record going all the way back to April 2006. And that gives you the opportunity that you might be able to increase your state pension. So this extension, the deadline we've extended is an extension of nearly 2 years, which is because HMRC is recognising some people have gaps in their national insurance record for whatever reason. It can be for multiple, any kind of reasons, such as you might have been living or working outside of the UK, you might have been unemployed and you weren't claiming benefits, you might be self-employed but you did not pay contributions because of small profits, and these might have caused gaps in your national insurance record, which consequently will affect how much state pension you are entitled to. So you've now got until the 5th of April 2025 to go online, check your state pension forecast, check to see if you're entitled to full state pension. If you're not, you can then go into your national insurance record and you can fill in any gaps that you might have, and this will increase your state pension.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Excellent. I mean, what about those individuals nearing retirement or employed with low income? How about those? Would they be wise to look up their NI records, or would everyone be necessary to look up their records at the moment just to see they're up to date or not?
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone can go online and have a look. I'd recommend doing that, just to keep an eye on where things are, but especially so if you are nearing retirement. This is really important. So if you're planning on retiring soon, what I would do is go online to gov.uk and type in plan your retirement income step by step. If you go online, it's really, really easy. They've set out a page and there's a step-by-step guide which will take you through a kind of checklist. And if you go through this checklist, one of the things is checking your state pension forecast. And if you're planning retiring, you want to know how much your state pension you're going to receive. You've been working hard, as you said at the beginning. You're entitled to state pension, and you need to see how much you're going to receive, so you can plan ahead. You can put in those financial planning steps early before you retire. Then I would definitely go online and check. But also, as you say, it doesn't have to be that you're retiring soon. Also, it can be that you were living outside of the UK for a while, or you've been working outside of the UK. That will have created gaps in your record as well. So it's a good idea to go online, check your state pension forecast, and then if it benefits you financially, and remember everyone's different, but if it's going to benefit you financially, then you can make those voluntary contributions to top up your state pension forecast, if you will.
Excellent. And what difference can it make in terms of filling in these gaps? I mean, do people think they're going to get a large lump sum or small sum in total if they complete their NI contributions?
So everybody is different. So it doesn't matter what your mum or dad or your partner's doing. You've got to go and check your own forecast. So everyone is different, but it can make the difference of thousands of pounds when you retire.
Really?
Because you do need 35 years of full contributions to qualify for the max state pension. Currently online, the maximum state pension you can qualify for is £203.85, I think, a week. So if you go online and you check your forecast by going through your government gateway, you log into that, you check your state pension forecast, and you see that you're not entitled. It might be that you've got 1 year's gap or 2 years gap, and you can fill these gaps in. And if you can afford to fill the gaps in and you think it's worthwhile for you to do so, then you can fill these gaps in, and that will mean that you get a full state pension when you retire.
Excellent. So when we talk about the gap in the NI contributions, does it all need to be paid off in one lump sum or before April the 2025 or in installments? How would one plan this?
Yes, so you don't have to pay it off in one lump sum because it can be a lot of money. It can be a bit more money if you're employed than if you're a self-employed individual. Everybody, as I say, is different, so you've got to go in online sooner rather than later if this is something that you think will affect you, if you're looking to retire soon, sort of before April 25 or sooner. So you go online and basically the gov.uk website will take you through the steps. You can see how much money you have to pay to top up, if you're already don't qualify for full state pension. See how much you need to top up, and then you can go through and make payments online on gov.uk. But the sooner you do it, the sooner you can see how much you've got to top up, if you've got to top up any at all, and then you can put your own financial planning steps in place. You have that extra 2 years now to save up if you need to fill these gaps in.
So why have HMRC extended the deadline? Is it because of a low uptake, or is it just the fact that people haven't been notified fully?
So it just gives people that longer to look. The original deadline was in April, and we noticed that loads of people were going online and filling these gaps. So they extended the deadline again to July, and tens of thousands of people were logging on to gov.uk, checking their state pension forecast, checking for gaps. And HMRC wants to give the opportunity to hopefully tens of thousands of more people. Now we've got this extended deadline. Also, it's not, it can be expensive depending on how many gaps you've got. So HMRC is recognising that some people will need time to save up. If they want to fill those gaps, they'll need time to put money aside to fill those gaps.
So are you suggesting that everyone should be checking their gov.uk website via the government gateway number, or is it something which certain people needn't bother with?
I would suggest if you've been working a while and you're thinking about retiring, I would definitely check. As I said, if you've been living or working outside of the UK, again, go on to gov.uk and check. If you're self-employed and you haven't paid any national insurance contributions, if you've only made a small profit, I would go in and check. Or again, if you're unemployed and you've not been claiming benefits, if you're in that bracket, I would go in and check. And to check, you've got to make sure you're on gov.uk. Unfortunately, there are a lot of spoof websites out there that pop up as quick as HMRC can take them down. So to make sure you're on the gov.uk website, you'll recognise that it's got a crown on it. And also when you click on the link, there should be a little padlock in the top sort of search bar at the top of your computer screen. That way you know you're on the real gov.uk website, which is really important, because if you're going to make these payments, you want to make sure you're paying the real HMRC so that you will receive the full state pension and not some fraudulent website. So it's really important to check you're on the right gov.uk.
It's a very valid point, Emma, because there are so many scams flying around at the moment. When you do get an email, always be suspicious of whether it is genuine or not. Check the address carefully, and on the gov.uk website, go to the official one, which, as you said, has got the crown on the top and a padlock in the top right, and it's www.gov.uk. If listeners haven't registered for what we call a government gateway number, I know I have, and I know a lot of my family members have, then please do mention to them that the importance of registering on the gov.uk website, and how that's sort of your unique reference number, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Your own government gateway portal is really, really useful. It's got all your sort of personal information with the government on there. You've got your tax code on there, you've got your national insurance number on there, and of course, you've got your state pension forecast on there. So there's loads of information. It's a really, really useful site. And if you haven't registered for it, I would recommend doing so. The first time you log on, you'll need 2 forms of ID. But don't worry, you won't need those every time you log on after that. That's only the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do, so you log on, you set up a government gateway, you will get emailed a password, and then you use that password to log on each time. And then if you're looking at retiring, or you're in any of the brackets I've talked about before, like you've been living outside the UK, been working outside the UK, log on to your government gateway, use your password to get in, and then you click on state pension. It's clearly labelled, you can see that. You click on that, and then up comes a big green box, and that will give you your state pension forecast.
Excellent.
And then if you see that you're not eligible for the full state pension, you can then stay on government gateway, click on national insurance, and then click on national insurance contributions, and it will give you a full breakdown of every year you've paid national insurance. It's like a sort of, this is your life in national insurance.
Right.
And from there you can see any gaps.
That's amazing. I think very important few points you've raised there, because the government gateway is not just your access to the national insurance contributions. It tells you everything about your tax situation, whether your code is incorrect or not. I mean, I had a family member recently, and because they had 2 separate jobs, it was quite complicated to separate the tax codes. And all I had to do is go online through the government gateway, put in the relevant amount, and the HMRC sorted it out, rather than having to phone you. I know you guys are very busy. You get hundreds and hundreds of calls every hour.
Yeah,
this is an absolutely amazing site.
That's a really, really good point, Riaz. You don't want to spend ages. Say you urgently need your national insurance number for whatever reason. You don't want to spend ages on the phone waiting for HMRC. The phone lines can be really busy, and a lot of the information that you need can be found on the government gateway. But it can also be found on the HMRC app. That's another really useful tool that I'd recommend downloading.
All right, okay.
It's free to download. It's available on Android, on iOS, on Apple, on all of those, whatever kind of phone you've got. The app's really good. It's another quick way of getting your personal information that the government hold about you. You can quickly see your tax code, you can quickly see your national insurance number, and you can also renew your tax credits on the app. That's just a little tip for your listeners.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah.
For those who don't have the benefit of having the internet, which nowadays I think is essential in modern lifestyle and requirements, what is the telephone number for the listeners out there who may want to phone in? And also, do you offer any sort of translation services or multilingual clients, multilingual people to assist with patients? People who, sorry, let me rephrase that, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm on work mode rather than radio mode. I see patients at work, so apologies. For your clients who want to ring in and inquire in a non-specific language, is it possible to have that? And have you got the telephone number to phone in?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got all sorts of different language services, so depending on anything like that, you can phone in. Let me just grab that up for you.
Whilst you're doing that, and you're just taking the number, I'm just saying you're listening live to Radio Seerah, 1575 AM, transmitting on www.radioseerah.com and via the apps on Android and also on Apple. Also available now on DAB on your internal car radios, so digital audio broadcast, absolutely crystal clear for those of you travelling and wanting to hear Radio Seerah, 24/7, transmitting throughout the year, 365 days per year. This is your radio community station. So we're back with Emma Robson from HMRC. We're discussing the importance, I think, very, very valid points here, the importance of checking your national insurance contributions and topping them up and accessing the gov.uk website via a government gateway number to check for tax codes and NI contributions and tax credits. And like Emma's saying so eloquently, it's like this is your life of all your tax situation for your whole working life. So it's important we all log in once and at least check that we're all up to date, especially those of us coming towards retirement, those of us with the sort of self-employed income who didn't pay enough contributions because of small profits, and those of us who've been living or working outside the UK specifically. So I think Emma was going to try and dig out a telephone number for those of us who are not able to access the services via the HMRC app or online through the gov.uk website. The telephone number, did you manage to get a chance to pick that out, Emma?
Yes, I've got that telephone number. So the general inquiry line, so if you've got a pen and paper at the ready and you're ready for the phone number, so it's 0300 200 3300.
So that's 0300 200 3300, and it's a free phone number, 0300, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people are worried about ringing some of these premium lines.
Yeah, absolutely, that is correct. But what I will say is to your listeners, if they have got a trusted friend or a family member that's got access to the internet or a phone and can go online and check these numbers and check these things for them, I would recommend doing that, going through the internet.
Definitely.
If you receive a phone call out of the blue from somebody purporting to be from HMRC, it's really important. There are so many of these scams out there, so it's really, really important to stop, take a moment to think, and what I would suggest doing, if you're not sure and if you're uncertain that this is really HMRC that's contacting you, never let yourself be rushed. Hang up the phone. Get online if you can, by hook or by crook. Get the HMRC phone number, the one I've just given, the 0300 200 3300 number, and phone HMRC and just check that HMRC were legitimately trying to get hold of you. Because unfortunately, there are a lot of criminals out there, a lot of crooks and villains who try and scam people, everyday, normal, hardworking people like your good listeners, out of their hard-earned cash by pretending to be HMRC.
True.
So really got to take a moment before parting with your money or with information. Don't let anyone pressurize you to give you information over the phone.
And I think we must add here that HMRC are here to help you. There's always a fear of dealing with somebody from HMRC feeling that they're there to sort of take your money away. But here you are, you're discussing how people can top up their pensions, can save money, can avoid scams, and this is all positive information that you're giving from HMRC, isn't it? And that's what you're there for.
Yeah, absolutely. HMRC, if you've been affected by scams, first of all, contact your bank immediately, because that's the most important thing. You've got to look after your own money, and then get in contact with HMRC. So what I would recommend, if you're worried about this, is searching scams on gov.uk. And on the HMRC gov.uk page, there's lots of information on how to recognise genuine HMRC contact. And also there's loads of examples of scams out there, and you can check how to avoid scams, and you can also check how to report scams as well. So if you get any weird text messages, you can forward these text messages to this number. So the number is 60599. So that's the text messages. And if you get any suspicious looking emails, what I would say is don't click on them. Don't click on any of the little bits on the emails or any links like that. Forward the email straight away to phishing@hmrc.gov.uk. And that's phishing spelled PH. So PHISHING, phishing@hmrc.gov.uk. And that's the best thing to do. We never use social media to offer a tax rebate or request personal or financial information. So if you come across these things, if you come across Facebook messages or anything like that on the social media platforms where people are out there, and unfortunately there are a lot of them at the moment, because now is the time where we pay a lot of tax rebates out, the prime time for it this time of year. So you've got to make sure that if somebody's asking you for bank details, that it's legitimate. And as I've said, the best way to access HMRC's online services is directly on gov.uk. You can phone up, but bear in mind you will likely have to wait a while. What I would do if you haven't got access to the internet is try and get hold of the internet through a friend or family member and go on through there, get a phone number off them, but speak to HMRC through gov.uk first before picking up any suspicious phone calls that come out of the blue.
Definitely. I think that's very wise advice. I understand that telephones are not always the best way of contacting HMRC, and you can be on hold for quite a while. But going through the app, again, just to help the listeners out, make sure that when you are going through the gov.uk website, it's the official one, which has, correct me if I'm wrong, which has a padlock on the top right and the crown.
Yes, that's right. It should have a padlock at the top in the search bar right at the top of your screen, and also you'll be able to see its big crown emblem on the website. But going back to scams, another thing with the phone lines is that unfortunately these scammers can often mimic HMRC numbers. So if you think you're getting a call in from HMRC or the police or anybody like that demanding money because of tax evasion, which often criminals do, they ring up and they threaten arrest, which HMRC would never do, by the way. They can often mimic HMRC numbers. So just bear in mind, don't always trust caller ID on phones as well. Unfortunately, we spend a lot of money in taking these criminals down and blocking these numbers and getting rid, but they pop up really, really, really quickly. So it's just really good to be aware of these scams so that you don't fall victim to them.
Definitely. Very, very useful advice, and I'm sure our listeners are enjoying taking a few nuggets of advice from you. So I think we're just winding down. There's not much else I think we need to talk about this topic, but it's been a very, very enlightening half an hour or so. We've just gone through a lot of new items, which I've learnt a lot about as well, regarding checking for websites being safe, and also the gov.uk HMRC app, which I don't think many of us have downloaded. I, for one, will definitely look into that.
Yeah, there's so much information, Riaz. It can be a bit of an information overload, definitely, but all that information about retirement and voluntary Class 3 national insurance contributions, all that is online at gov.uk. Type in plan your retirement income step by step, and all that information's on there. And basically, gov.uk is a mine of information. If you've missed anything today, then just go online, and it's really easy to search, and you can hopefully find out everything that I've said today online on gov.uk.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Emma Robson from HMRC. You've been a fantastic pleasure to talk to, and you've highlighted a lot of important points we all need to look into for our own retirements, and not to be conned, and not to be always be suspicious when people ring you. I think there has to be a reason why people ring you, that you've not rung them. So as Emma said kindly, always put the phone down, just double check, text if you've got any suspicion to 60599, or send an email to phishing@gov.uk. Was it gov.uk?
It's phishing at hmrc.gov.uk.
Phishing spelled PHI. Okay, super. Once again, thank you very much, Emma, for joining me for this little show we've done today on national insurance contributions and the extension until April 2025, and the benefits of checking your record and making sure that you're up to date. It does make a major impact in the end in terms of the financial return. You could miss out by up to a couple of £1,000. So I'd urge everyone, myself, I'll be doing that as well, to go on and check for any missing contributions. So we're just bringing the show to a close. Once again, many thanks, Emma. Thank you for joining us, and hope to hear from you soon.
Much.
Pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
That was excellent. That was Emma Robson from HMRC. We went through a lot of information there. I hope that's been useful to our listeners out there. If you do have any concerns about whether it's a genuine call from HMRC, as I said, do text to 60599, and they are very clever, these scammers. They actually can copy the phones as if it's coming from HMRC. There should be no reason for them contacting you asking for money over the phone. So, dear listeners, please ensure that you are very vigilant, and do check. I can't reiterate enough that it's a genuine call from HMRC, But the best way is to go online through the official website and check your NI records and contribute via the website. So this is Riaz Jasat. It's been a pleasure talking to you about national insurance contributions, and inshallah we'll try and meet some other time to discuss a few other topics. Till then, I'll leave you with the playlist. I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
بها العجب والعجب تروح بلا عذر وتأتي بلا سبب فلا ظلها